Here we go.
Welcome to the World Studio Tour, where we take you on a tour of the world's top live streaming studios and video production experts. Stay tuned this season and vote for your favorite studio on the season finale live broadcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to PTZOptics Live. I'm Tess Protesto.
And I'm Mike Lettermoser.
Today, we are embarking back on our World Studio Tour, finally headed overseas to England. The studio of Giles Warham, who produces World of Live Streaming show, who you may or may not be familiar with, and is also involved in a nonprofit organization, StepBackInTime.tv, and we're going to learn a little bit about both of those today. Let's bring Giles up really quick to say hello to everyone.
Oh, here we go.
Hi, Tess.
Hi,
guys.
Giles.
Hi, Giles.
Loving the overalls, Tess.
You love the overalls? Yes. If you guys know Giles at all, you know that overalls are his thing. He has coined the ability to wear them night or day, any occasion, and I'm loving that. So I wanted to represent Giles today with my overalls. Showing a little bit of a fan spirit here of your show. This is too much fun. Thank you, Giles. In a moment here, we're going to put you through the lightning round. A couple housekeeping things first.
Yes.
First things first, happy birthday to our commander-in-chief. If you saw our Facebook post earlier, it's Paul's birthday, so happy birthday, bud. Second thing, Giles is like our audio mixer today.
Yeah, loving it.
We also want to tell you guys about a brand new product that was released from our sister company.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to do the intro?
Yeah, let's talk about the HuddleCam Go that just was released.
Yeah, the HuddleCam Go, our all-in-one conferencing camera solution. We made a quick video that we wanted to share with you guys. Just give it a little plug while we can, since it is officially shipping today.
Well,
where did we put it?
Right here.
There it is. Cool.
Here we go.
Hey guys, Tess here with HuddleCam HD. I'm so excited to announce that our newest product family member, the HC Go, is now shipping. Here's the box that it's going to come in. Notice this is a speaker phone with a 360-degree range. So no matter where you are in your meeting space, your viewers are going to be able to hear you clearly. Here's the user manual, pretty standard for all of our products. What's super cool about this particular webcam is it has a super wide angle lens, meaning that almost anywhere in the room that your participants are sitting, the viewer is going to be able to see them perfectly. Another cool little tool with this camera, it does have a slight angle, so you can angle the camera up or down depending on where your subjects are. Now you do see two wires here, but the truth is you only need one for this product. And what I mean by that is that camera connectivity, camera power, and audio and video signals are all sent through one simple USB 2 cable. It also comes with a USB extender cable just for convenience if you need to carry the product a longer distance. This camera has 1080p HD video to ensure that your viewers can see your beautiful faces perfectly. We'll spin this around for you guys so you can see every angle of the device. Notice on the bottom, that's where the micro USB plug connects into the device. You probably saw the speaker on front, but we also have one on top to make sure that you're getting a great audio range. A couple other things to leave you with before I go. We do offer a 3-year warranty with this product, and of course our amazing in-office support staff. So if you're ready to go ahead and buy, head to www.huddlecamhd.com/go. I promised you guys a new product today, and that is our sister company, if you will, so we had to show some love to baby sis.
Yep.
So that's our little plug for the day for you guys. Let's get to know Giles a little bit better by throwing him in the lightning round. I think it should be fun.
It's right here.
All right, Giles. Coffee or tea?
Beer.
Beer.
Nice.
That's one I haven't heard in a while. Mac or PC?
PC all the way.
Can you think
I
of a
do
random
like
one?
the Unix operating system that the Mac runs on, but yeah, I'm a PC guy because you can build it yourself.
For streaming, it's really
Yeah.
helpful, the PCs.
Hmm.
What else do we have? Favorite candy?
Ooh, I don't eat sweets really, but
What?
ooh,
Not even like a
no, I
dessert?
don't. Not really. I don't have a sweet tooth. It's unusual for me to be drinking this stuff actually, but oh god, let's say it's got to be a jam donut or something like that, I guess.
A donut. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Favorite book or movie? Some people aren't readers. Some people aren't movie watchers. You're a movie watcher, though.
I'm a movie watcher, definitely. Airplane,
Airplane. Never heard of it.
Ooh, classic.
You know it?
classic. Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
It's an
I
older.
don't know.
Yeah.
I'll have
Older
to look
flick.
it up.
Brilliant film. If you've never watched Airplane, you've got to watch Airplane. Leslie
or-
Nielsen,
Sorry.
fantastic, and the Zucker brothers, who were the directors on that, superb, great film. And of course, Naked Gun. They're all they're all
Yes.
that kind of similar series. Brilliant
I'm
films.
lost.
I know what you're talking about. Great films.
I'm
Make
more of a
sure
critical
Tess
kind of
sees
guy,
them. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
go through life without seeing
Yeah.
those films.
All right, we'll have to have a movie night on
All
the
right.
3D LED screen. Apple or Android?
Android.
Okay, Android. So sometimes, like myself, I'll be a PC user, but I'll use the iPhone. So that one can usually throw us for a loop, but you are Android and PC. And final one.
Yeah, I've often thought about. Oh, go on. Sorry.
Finish. No, finish. I don't mean to cut you off.
Okay, I was going to say, there's a bit of temptation in the Apple world because
Yeah.
you've got this Sienna apps for NDI, and they're quite, there is a bit of, but I just haven't been tempted. I like the Android ecosphere, so I'll just stuck with that.
Great. All right, and this one I feel like you should have a good handle on since you're interested in history. If you remember this question being asked, if you could go back to any time in history, where would you go? When would you go?
I thought about that one a lot, actually, watching your program, and I think I'd like to go back to the beginning of computing, just to sort of see it, and that would be the Manchester University computer, which I think was probably the first fully software programmable computer. I think that was a big point in history. I mean, we wouldn't be doing any of this without that, I
Right.
suspect.
What
That's an interesting one.
What year was the Manchester computer?
Oh, now you're asking. It's 50s,
In the
but
50s?
I couldn't say exactly which year. Yeah.
Good.
Drake says Tess doesn't know Airplane. Shame on her. Time for weekend viewing. I guess I will have to be caught up on that.
You gotta get your
You've got to
classics.
see that film.
Yeah.
In
Okay.
fact, you've got to watch it 10, 20 times over because you
Yes.
will not see all the humor in it unless you do.
My husband and I normally rent movies on the weekend because we have a toddler, so we can't do anything. So that'll be next on our list then. So before we get into the studio tour, I just wanted to have a little bit of background information on you and how you use live streaming for our viewers who might not know so much about your show. We might as well keep this up.
Yeah.
Because you can
That's-
see
that's
both of
great.
us.
Yeah, well, I guess most people probably know us for the world of live streaming. And the world of live streaming came about because we wanted to experiment with this technology. And unless you do something live, you can't really experiment with it properly. So, I mean, if you want the long story, I'll cut it as short as possible. We were looking for a system that we could plug multiple cameras into it and record all the cameras in sync. And we found TriCaster and various things. And then we found Tom Sinclair, who's a big
course.
supporter of what we do. And he was talking about vMix, which is the first time we discovered vMix, and we basically use vMix. And of course, once you've got something that can live stream and you start watching somebody who does live streaming, you start to think, oh, actually, this is kind of neat. I like the idea of this. We got to play with this. And so I approached my good friend Merle, who is part of the World of Live Streaming show, and said to him, you know, do you fancy doing a show? I want to play with this and find out what we can do with it. And so basically that's where the world of live streaming came from. And the sort of company behind it is stepbackintime.tv, which anybody who's watched the world of live streaming will be familiar with. We have our chat room on the stepbackintime.tv website, etc.
It's a fun place to be.
Step Back in Absolutely. So Step Back in Time TV. Are you getting broken up video from me? Because I'm seeing very. Oh, it's settled down again now. That's, I'm sorry, we're on 4G here. One of the things, one of the problems we have being out in the boonies, as you would call it, is the internet here is really not very good. So I'm using a 4G connection, so I do apologise if it sort of breaks up. It's normally pretty reliable, I have to say. But anyway,
you're looking great.
We're cool. So we're a not-for-profit community interest company. Basically, that's a normal company, a normal limited company, so we can do business in the normal way. And actually, I've got some breaking news for you if you want to have it here first, later on.
Of course.
And so basically, any money we do make has to be ploughed back into our community purpose, our reason for existence. So what we're trying to do is to create an online museum which will feature old home movies from the 50s and 60s, well, right up to current time, really. And these things are really valuable because you see all the bits of old technology that we collect today actually in use at the time it was made, and you see all the cars and all the fashion and everything that went with it, and it's really, really important. So do look out for the old home movies on our website, which will be coming up fairly soon. We're also trying to make films about old things, like old cars or gramophones or whatever. That's basically what we try to do.
Really great place for people with an interest in history and learning. It's actually really cool. So let's talk a little bit about live streaming for nonprofits. What is your struggle there? What are your benefits there? I'm just interested for people who are interested in live streaming for the purpose of growing their community and nonprofit.
I think, anybody who's watched Tom Sinclair's show will be familiar with the kind of rapport that you build up with the person who's trying to sell you a product or who is the source of your bits of kit or whatever. I think, if you're out there doing a live show, people get to know you, and you build up this kind of trust relationship. And I think that's the benefit for any company. You get to know me when I'm on the air, and people get to know you when you're on the air. And I think that's really important. It's something that the internet age has sort of kind of semi-deleted in a way. When you went into your corner shop and you got to know the guy in the corner shop or the lady who's serving in the corner shop, you got to know them and you trusted them. Mm-hmm. When it's all online, you click on a button and it gets delivered to your door, and you cross your fingers, don't you, really? There's big companies out there who you can trust, like Amazon and so on and so forth. But when you're dealing with an individual or a smaller company, I think it's very important that people get to know you, and you build up that kind of relationship with them.
Yeah, I really like how you say that, because even, for you and I, for example, we've never met in person, but like I mentioned to you before we went on air, I was so happy to have you because I feel like there's somebody else there to help, and you almost like you can create bonds with people in the community, and it's really important for business and and also for successful shows like this one.
It's about like that authentic tactile experience or in your content.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to be able to reach people and have
That's
them feel
it, exactly.
something.
I think that's great for nonprofits as well, to really send their message from the source, and people who are passionate about whatever the topic is that they're talking about. I suppose we ought to let you get started with your tour, the part that people are really excited for. Let's bring Giles full screen, and we'll give you the reins, Giles.
There we go.
Giles is setting up his external camera.
Hopefully you can hear me now.
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay, well, let's start where I'm sitting. So, this is what I'm seeing at the moment. So this studio is really built as a green screen studio to enable somebody to announce or introduce a show. And we're heavily orientated towards doing remote and distributed production. Okay, so let me just give you a quick tour. So if I turn around from where I'm sitting here, you can see the green screen. There we go, lovely sea of green. And as I turn around a bit more here, you can see we've got various bits of lighting and, you know, all the standard sort of stuff. The studio is lined with these black curtains, which are the sort of stage type of backdrop things, which help to deaden the sound. And you probably saw just out of the corner of the eye there, well, there's our ceiling falling down. Let's find a bit that looks sort of half reasonable. There you go. We've got egg boxes on the ceiling. We built this studio years and years and years ago, and at the time it wasn't very easy to come by sound distributing, you know, sound deadening materials, I guess you call them. So the egg boxes that you see up there help to break up any echoes in the room and that kind of thing. So we tried to make it reasonably dead. The roof is also at an angle, so it doesn't reflect. I don't know if you can see here, but you can see that it's at an angle. So it doesn't reflect the sounds down directly, which was great. And it's by virtue of the design of the building. We've got a hard floor, so it's not totally dead. But it seems to work reasonably well. So on my desk here, if I'm the person on the show, if I'm supposed to be the talent and the producer, then I've got my X keys here and my APC Mini, the computer on the desk, so we can show things to people, demonstrate vMix features, or just put up websites or whatever. So that's kind of where I sit at the moment, as you can see. So wandering around in front of me, when I'm doing a show, I have 2 NDI monitors. We love NDI in here. You probably this is a bit overexposed, but that's kind of my multi-view from the vMix system that you can see there. Down below I've got the chat room, which is the Step Back in Time TV chat room, so we can interact with people. The monitor here, this is an old CRT monitor. We use old stuff. There's no point in throwing it away. If it works, we use it. So this old CRT monitor is kind of a confidence monitor. At the moment it's showing what you're broadcasting, your end of the vMix call. So there's a bit of a delay on there, but we have the Sony camera here. And again, this is an old Sony camera. Bought it new. It's an HVR Z1. It's an what do they call these? It's not quite the full, HDV. It's not quite the full 1080p, but we tend to do 720p from here, so it works very well for us. It's better than 720p resolution. Here we have the shelving unit, which contains the stuff. Now it's a bit of a mess, but that's okay because it's technical and it's allowed to be a mess.
Exactly.
I don't know, in fact, if I don't know if you can see how many plugs and sockets we've got in here. It's a bit dark, but I mean, it's just it's overrun with the things. So this little shelving unit supports the monitors for the control room. So back out here, The control room, as you can see, kind of oversees the studio. That first picture I showed you before we went to walkabout was the sort of overview shot. Well, this is the control room. If we've got somebody else in the studio, then this is where I would be sitting. And normally I would have the X keys and things like that in here. And again, we've got various monitors in here doing various things. The ones over to the left here have blanked out, but normally we're monitoring the YouTube live stream and that kind of thing on there, emails and that kind of stuff coming in. Probably recognise vMix here, and the audio mixer within vMix and the list editor, so that we can keep an eye on what we're doing with the lists. And then the bottom two monitors show, again, it's a confidence monitor and the multi-view, so we can see what's going on. And the one down to the bottom right there is monitoring my 4G, so I know if I'm running out of data. And up here we monitor the chat room, so that again, you know, if I'm out here doing the control side of things, I can see what's going on. So both the talent on the set can see the chat, and so can I, and we can bounce backwards and forwards, that kind of thing. Wow. Over towards the back here, we've got some racks, which have got various other bits of gear in. A lot of this is from the old days before we actually turned this into a live streaming studio. The stuff in these racks is changing, but we've got various bits of audio gear and scopes and that kind of thing in there at the moment. We used to do post-production in here only, really, but it was a green screen set. So, I mean, it's quite a compact little studio, but because of the nature of vMix and the internet, we can do remote production, so we can bring cameras in from the outside world and actually mix them together in here through the internet. We can also do remote post-production. So I can record stuff here and then do the edits, and actually sit down and talk to somebody about what we've recorded and how we're editing it. I'm just going to switch cameras. Okay, hopefully you can hear me still.
I can.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
So yeah, we can do quite a bit from here. We're in the middle of nowhere, you have to remember, and obviously reaching out to the people who want our services is not easy when you're in the middle of nowhere, but the internet means we can actually do things for people all over the world.
Right.
And that is a totally new thing, really. I mean, that's only really come along in the last few years as the bandwidth on the internet has generally improved. And you know, so suddenly now we can have somebody out on a location with a camera, sending it back into here. We can record that, we can edit it, show what we've done with the edits, and you know, the client can actually see how the film is coming together as we shoot it. You know, so it's a really totally different way of working, and it's a great way of working, because as it comes together, if it's not looking right, you can do something about it straight away. You're not had a whole day of filming in the can that you have to throw away because it didn't work for some reason, you know. So
Right.
that's a rough overview for you.
Giles, that was great.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah,
and
thank
I
you.
have a couple questions right off the top of my head that I can think of, but we have to spin the wheel really quick, so I'm going to roll the credits, and then we're going to go over the questions that I have and the questions from the chat, all right?
Yep, cool beans.
All right, so let's roll the credits, and we'll see you guys in the post-show. Thanks, Giles.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming!
Alrighty, so let's we'll pull up the desktop capture and we will see who gets to spin the wheel.
Desktop capture.
Here it is. It's on Facebook right now. If you control from there, go up to the spin to win. Alrighty, let's go to winners.
Draw winners.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
Let's see who gets the spin today. Remember, you must be present in the chat to claim your prize or to quote unquote spin the wheel. Philip
Klaas from Austria.
All right. We like to give everybody a minute to, say that they're here because of latency.
Philip, if you are in the chat, let us know.
Until then, we can go back to Giles,
Yep.
and I can start asking what I had in mind for you. First off, there was one question in the chat. What laptop do you use to control vMix mainly?
Right, well, I have the laptop I have here is actually a mobile production system. When we're in the studio, I use it for demonstrations and that kind of thing, so we can demonstrate how to do things with vMix or whatever. But vMix is primarily the reason for this, and it's a clean system, so that it's nothing to do with the actual production. This is actually an MSI laptop. The model number is a GL727QF, which I think you can't actually buy now because it's more than 3 weeks old. But it's the MSI laptops are quite nice, and the price was good on it. So, obviously, being a non-profit company, we have to be very careful with how much we spend on things. So we tend to do things as economically as we can. And this has turned out to be a good little machine. It was under £1,000, which for a vMix laptop is pretty good going, and it does the job beautifully well. In fact, we did. Don't know if you remember Streamfest Live back in August, but Streamfest Live came from this computer, this laptop, and we also had Martin Steed with us as well, who had a vMix Go box, and he was doing all the recording and that kind of stuff with the vMix Go box, and we were doing the production from this laptop. So you can see it actually on if you go back and watch Streamfest Live, which is on our YouTube, you can see the setup we had. We had a couple other machines as well. In fact, these two that are over here in front of me, and we were monitoring the chat room and using the NDI monitor and things like that, so we could actually keep an eye on the production, and it worked pretty well.
Yeah. Merle says Giles taught me how to budget.
Yeah, well, you can spend so much money on bits of kit, and I love the toys. I mean, these are toys. I mean, I'm just a big kid when it comes to all this stuff, and you can just spend so much money though. So you do have to be really very careful, I think. And if anybody's starting out in this, I would say, don't go out and spend ridiculous amounts of money. Start small and build up, and work out what you need to spend the money on and where you need to improve things. And actually, old gear is okay sometimes. It just depends what you do.
I see you making the most out of quote unquote older gear, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, do DIY, do it yourself.
You're not being wasteful. Andrew Hoover, we redrew.
But you can save so much money, and there's nothing wrong with a lot of this old gear.
Works, and
big
it's
CRT monitor
still.
is massive, and it's a huge thing.
Right.
Well, yeah, that's right. I mean, I wouldn't take this big CRT monitor out on the road with me. I mean, I can barely pick the thing up. It's a big 21-inch monitor, and it's seriously heavy. I mean, I can pick it up and walk around with it, but not for very far.
No.
You're certainly going to get a bad back. But in a studio situation, some of this gear is great because it doesn't move. It just sits there.
Exactly. Okay, something I wanted to touch on that we spoke about a little bit before going live was your ceiling, and not just the egg cartons, but actually the angle of your ceiling. Can you touch on that again for me?
Yeah, basically, let me just start by saying I'm not an audio engineer. I have learned a few things about it over time as I've needed to. But I went on the internet, and the BBC have a site which advises people, and it was really aimed at small bands and things starting off, and how to record decent sound. And one of the things they said on there is, ideally you don't want to have a ceiling parallel with your floor, because the sounds bounce around between the ceiling and the floor. So when we were designing this, I thought, oh, okay, if we do an angled ceiling, which is what they're suggesting, then the sounds sort of bounce off out of the way. So and with the egg boxes up there as well, it does just break up the echoes and things like that. Right. There is a roominess to this still, because there's echoes coming from over in front of me there. There are still things we need to sort out about this, but broadly speaking, it works reasonably well.
That's interesting to hear, and we're gonna have to think about things like that soon. So that definitely piques my interest. Okay, let's see here. Oops, sorry. Were you gonna say something?
Can I say one thing, actually?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because you were showing on your last show, you were showing you got some nice, lovely 3D models of what your studio's potentially going to be like, and one of the questions that came up was whether you should have a separate control room and studio.
Yes.
And I would say, just from the experience of doing this, that it's quite a good idea to have a separate control room, because you can put all the noisy bits, like the vMix computer and all the fan noise and stuff, can be in the control room, and that would leave you with a nice quiet studio. And that's where we're aiming to go with this studio, is to try and cut out all that noise.
That's
so just
to have your vote there. Kent says, is there a good small budget setup for lighting that you know of, Giles?
The lighting we're using in here is very low budget. Let me see if I can put my camera back again. Where are we? It's that one. So the lights I'm using in here are just basically they're compact fluorescent bulbs in a softbox, and the lights I'm using to light the green screen, these came with the green screen. I think the whole kit was about £50, something
Dennis
like that.
Pyrakin, are you
so
here?
They're just.
Sorry, Giles.
That's all right. So these are just standard sort of umbrella reflectors with. There's just 3 compact fluorescent bulbs in there. They are colour balanced bulbs. They're not just normal compact fluorescent bulbs, but yeah, they're just very, very simple. You don't need to spend masses of money, and that's the other light over there.
You should do a show on the whole episode on budget, ways to maybe cut corners if you need to, if you're on a tight budget. I would watch that, especially for lighting.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I wouldn't call it cutting corners, because it's but it's just getting away with the minimum you need. And,
okay, yeah, that's probably a better way
yeah,
to phrase
it. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Depends on what you're doing. In this small environment, these lights work perfectly well.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy LED lights. You spend a lot more money on them, of course, but LED lights are a lot more compact. Again, all this kind of old technology is big. Mm-hmm. That's its biggest downfall, and that's why people don't like it. But actually, in a static situation, if you're not moving the stuff around, then I would say, go for it. These sort of lights can look, pretty reasonable, and well, hopefully my video's coming across to you looking reasonably good, and the same with the audio.
Yeah. It has been really good. All right, so let's redraw again.
Yeah, here we go.
Sorry, Giles. Nobody's in the chat that's winning today for the spin to win. You know how it goes. We have to keep redrawing.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you get to 4 spins and there's still nobody, why don't you draw for me? And no, okay.
AJ Grachester, are you here, AJ? Okay, Giles. Charles says, I heard you say that you return any profits back to the community chest. How do you monetize your shows?
We do it voluntarily. So World of Life Streaming is a completely voluntarily done thing. It's a means for us to experiment with the technology and to learn how it works. We learn by doing it, and all the time we're trying to push the envelope of what we can do. So it's kind of a self-learning experience, really. So there's, apart from the fact that we use the sort of company's equipment to do it, it's mainly a learning experience for everybody involved. And we've built up quite a nice little community of people who regularly come in and who are going out there and looking at, like Merle does the news. He's constantly looking on the internet for all the new technologies coming along. So in a way, it kind of just keeps us all up to date, and we're all learning from each other all the time. There's always something new to learn. That's the great thing about doing this. You can, while vMix itself is relatively static and you can kind of master it, there's always something new going on out there, and there's a hell of a lot going on in vMix, of course, as well. So I mean,
Absolutely.
But yeah, the breaking news, by the way, that I was going to mention
hear
earlier,
it.
this kind of leads in. So we've been talking to Martin Sinclair at vMix, and we're in the process of becoming a vMix reseller and a vMix supporter. So
Congratulations, Giles.
you will be able to. Thank you. They're not just taking anybody on because they want people who understand it and who can provide the support. So
You definitely gave
when
me
we get
support this
our
morning with my headphone.
pleasure. And once we get our website up and running, which will be coming fairly soon under the name of CompleteStreamingSolutions.com, you will be able to buy vMix from us, which will help us to continue our community cause. And in addition to the things I was saying earlier about trying to preserve historic footage and talk about old things, we're also hoping to help people actually in the community. So if you've got people with Asperger's syndrome or sort of some degree of learning difficulties and that kind of thing, we want to give them the opportunity to actually play with this technology and have fun with it and learn. And indeed, Martin Steed, who does our off-grid stuff on the World of Live Streaming, is joining the board of directors in the company, and he already does all that kind of thing. So we're hoping to kind of build upon that and give back to the community.
Yeah, so what you're doing is not so much about monetization, it's about community growth, community involvement, engagement, just reaching out to people, getting them to know about your cause, and maybe investing or helping your cause.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely that.
Great way to use
And there's so much, and there's so much fun. I mean, yourself. I mean, it's a playground, isn't it? As Tom would call it.
It truly is.
It's just so much fun, and we know from Martin's experiences of doing this, just how much people enjoy it, and it's the best thing when you see the smile on people's faces, and they're getting something out of it because it's a skill they can go out and use and potentially get a job or whatever, so it's a really good thing.
All right, Dusty Schnurr. A lot of names I don't recognize coming in from the giveaway as well. So this should be a good opportunity for some people who haven't won before. Okay, let's see. We have another question in here from Robert. What size of pipe do you have out to the internet? What is the population of the community you are in at this time?
Okay, the village I live in is 100 households, and it's pretty sparse. My nearest neighbour actually does share our driveway with us, and they're just there. But my nearest neighbour on the other side is like half a mile away, so that gives you some idea of how sparse it is here.
That's why the internet for you is powerful.
The internet is vital to us, but we get nothing really. The landline internet is 1 megabit up on a good day, and it's between 4 and 6 megabits down. So it's very hard to stream
How do you manage?
on that kind of bandwidth. Well, we did. The first, now, our original World of Live streaming shows, which were called This and That, incidentally, if you're looking
Right.
for them, because we had no idea what we were going to do. I'll come back to that in a second. But those programs were streamed at 360p on 1 megabit, and we were taking calls in on the show as well. And with a bit of clever jiggery-pokery with the router, we could sort of manage the traffic, shape the traffic so that we could actually make that work. Subsequently, I met Martin after we started doing that show, and he had a 4G router with a big antenna.
There you go.
And he said to me, "That's what you need." And he came down here, and we tried it out here, and it worked. So that's what I'm actually talking to you on now. We're literally going over the air to a 4G mast. And I get about 5 up on that, which is useful.
So that's how you
But we're
make
supposed to be getting... Yeah, that's how we work now. There's a little bit of latency on it, but it's okay. It works. We're supposed to be getting broadband fibre to the premises in 2021, and that will then give us a gig up and a gig down, is what they're promising. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for that. But between times, just use the 4G.
That should be helpful.
Yeah.
Okay, Mike Baker.
Oh, gig up would be a dream.
Oh yeah.
Vinay says our nonprofit in Bangalore, India really needs to win a PTZ. I hope we win. We're keeping rolling. Mike Baker. Steadycam says it's about giving and not the taking. We do need to earn a living though, so it can't always be free. That's important to note.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Martin's absolutely bang on. Steadycam is Martin, by the way.
Oh, okay. Perfect. So Martin is in the house.
Yeah.
Love hearing about your cause to get people with maybe learning disabilities involved with doing this sort of thing, because it's really fun, and it's definitely an outlet of sorts in terms of hobbies. It's just like it's a good hobby to have, and it's a good skill set.
It's just
to
so
have
much
as well.
fun. It is, absolutely. Yeah, it's useful and fun, and
Right, no Mike
that's a
Baker,
brilliant
that's right.
combination.
This might be the hardest it's ever been on Spin to Win.
Well,
Eileen Boyce.
like I say, I'm always willing to, receive the prize if nobody else is.
You might have to.
Did you enter?
No, I didn't, unfortunately. I meant to, but I didn't.
Come on.
Yeah, like the time that Jim Bond
Yes, that's right.
won the Spin to Win while he was live.
Yeah, I
He
saw
was
that.
live on the show.
That was
fun.
absolutely brilliant.
Have you ever worn a chroma key T-shirt, Giles?
I do have green T-shirts, and I have accidentally done it, yes. And you just end up with the overalls and being in a disembodied head. Yeah, you just disappear into the background. It's quite funny, quite
That
funky.
is funny to experiment with. Rob says, how long have you used vMix for? What do you like the most about vMix? Now you're a salesman, so
Yeah.
here's your chance.
Well, vMix is like a box of Legos, and this is an analogy Tom has used in the past.
Okay.
You can build a system that works the way you want it to work. You don't have to conform to the historic way of doing things or the hardware way of doing things. You can build something that works for you, and that's what I really like about it. It is so open in terms of the way you can implement particular things. That has its complications as well, particularly if you're just starting from new. But you very quickly get into the mindset of it. And I think Martin Sinclair has created the most fantastically usable and reliable. I mean, it just doesn't crash. It's fantastic. It's unheard of on anything outside Unix,
I can't
really.
disagree with that.
But it's absolutely amazing, and it works on commodity hardware, so you don't have to have a particular company's PC with their particular system on it. You can build your own, and that's the strength of vMix, and that means you can because there's the various versions of it, okay, you get the 60-day trial to find out whether it works, where you can try all the features, so you can see if it's going to work on your computer. Then there's a free standard definition version. If you're doing very simple stuff, you actually can have the free version of it. The HD version is £40, $60. You know, so you can do HD, you know, proper full-on production with just a £60 product, and the prices go up steadily according to what you need. But you've got everything you need in this product. You pay for just what you need. If you need the full-on professional with 4 action replays, you know, real-time replays and things like that, then obviously you pay a bit more for it. But even so, the top of the range product at $1,200 is just unbelievable what it does.
I think that's the one we have.
It's absolutely fantastic thing.
We can do everything.
Yeah, I'm running Pro here. Well, 4K. I'm running 4K on the laptop and Pro on the main machine, and it just does everything you could ask of it, really. I mean, you can always improve stuff, but it's absolutely, if you'll excuse the terminology, bloody brilliant. It's a superb product, and I would urge anybody who's not looked at it before to download the 60-day free trial, give it a go, and you know, experiment with it. And we're here to help you. Particularly if you buy the product off us, we're gonna be there to support you if you need it.
You are going to be there to support.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm still trying with this
We're
giveaway.
trying to find a winner here.
Where I'm like, how long can this go on for? Antonio Eduardo.
It must be my lucky day.
Well, I guess we'll just have to stay here all day. It's a Friday. I mean, come on. And is it the evening for you? What
Yeah,
time
it's
is it?
just coming up to it's 7:45 in the evening.
Oh, right at dinner time. I apologize.
No, I had my dinner, and I fortunately ate early, so yeah,
Good.
I had my dinner sort of 6 o'clock.
So you're not sitting there with an empty
yeah.
belly.
Not at all. No.
Hey, Antonio, are you here? All right, let's keep redrawing for now. Let's get somebody that's in the chat right now that I know is in the chat. Joshua Park. Joshua Park, are you here?
Josh Park.
Ay, ay, ay. This is tough. Oh, Andrew Hoover is here now. We
if
did
Tommy's
draw
in the
Andrew
chat.
Hoover earlier, didn't we? Should it go to him? All right. What is? I don't know the thing to do in these situations. Now, okay, so I believe we did draw Andrew Hoover a while back. Does he still get it, though he's in the chat now? What do you? Should we let the people?
The people has to decide.
The people's choice?
Yeah,
Okay.
people's choice.
Okay, people's choice. So Joshua. Ugh, my goodness. All right, so here's the situation. Bob says too late for Andrew. Bob's saying no. Joshua Park's not there to claim it. Paul, if you're in the chat, you get to have the final say. Now I'm like, yeah, this is true. Christopher says we've been waiting. All right, we'll draw another one.
Here we go. Here we go.
That's true, Christopher. Everybody's saying draw.
Yeah.
Sorry, Andrew, you do have to be here when we announce it.
Jason
Jolliffe?
Joliffe?
That is true. I suppose that wouldn't be fair. Jason Jolliffe, are you here?
Jason, please say that you were present.
I mean,
So we
can't keep Giles here all day.
I know, right?
Jason Jolliffe is here!
Woo!
Jason,
Yay!
you're here!
Yeah!
Woohoo!
Yeah!
Giles! Sound effects. All right, let's bring us back to full screen for a moment here, Giles. And we will spin the wheel and hopefully get you a free camera.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah?
go ahead.
We're going to go? All
Yeah,
right,
we'll
here we
have Mike do
go.
it again. Ooh, that was smooth. There's a little bit of options. Ooh.
Let's gonna be?
It's killing me. Oh, virtual set packs.
What's that?
Okay, so virtual set packs, we will give you free virtual sets to coincide with green screens. Yes, Mike, we do need sound effects.
Yeah.
Mike Latta said we need sound effects. Yeah. We
Yeah.
need sound effects. And we can put them on our X keys. What does this do? No, we have
nothing.
an applause, but it's not programmed right.
Right.
Okay, so here's the deal. Jason, you can pick virtual set packs or vMix mouse pad. We want to give an option in case you don't have use for something you win or you don't like what you win. There's always a backup, a vMix mouse pad stolen from NAB New York by Mr. Paul. So let me know, Jason, and I'll be in touch with you. Congratulations. And we've brought Giles
If you put
back.
enough of those, if you put enough of those vMix mouse pads together, Tim reckons you could make a yoga mat.
And
Very
do
true.
yoga on your vMix mouse pad.
Very true.
Okay, Giles. Tom says, do your famous SFX.
Oh, well, you know, actually not sure which ones of these I can play. I'm going to play this one anyway. That's the one we use quite a lot on our own show. There's a particularly niceness to the roundness of that particular sound effect, I think.
That is the one that Giles was playing for us in the beginning of the show, and I was like,
We were like,
what is happening? I was like, I did not have
he do
beans
that?
for
I was like,
lunch.
did you do that?
Favorites.
Well, Giles, this has been a whole lot of
Yeah.
fun for a Friday afternoon. We so appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure, and it's great to see Tess as well. You've got to do that.
If you guys want to know more about Giles and World of Life streaming and stepbackintime.tv, head to stepbackintime.tv to check out their live show and also for the amazing cause that Giles and team support. So thanks again, Giles, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you, Tess.
All right,
All right.
let's get this Friday started.
So thanks so much for watching the show. If you haven't checked us out, check us out online on Facebook, YouTube, and all of our other digital properties. And we will see you on Monday.
Boom. Crushed it.
And that's all, folks. We appreciate your participation in the chat room and can't wait to host our next informative Q&A session. Your questions drive the conversation forward for live streaming professionals around the world. Until next time, happy streaming!